And look outside, an eldritch being looms above the earth, causing any person or creature who dares look upon it to twist and transform beyond recognition, forcing anyone who wishes to remain human to stay indoors and resist the dark urge to look at the creature. Known only as the Visitor, we learn it will remain near the planet for 15 days. In that time, we must try and make contact with the Visitor in an attempt to learn its true nature and minimize the devastating effects it has on humanity. And the chosen one to do this is an unemployed, middle-aged gamer. Sam is as unlikely of a hero as it comes. However, his actions have a paramount effect on the story, leading to 13 possible endings in Look Outside. Sam can be the salvation or doom of the human race, create an eldritch abomination of eternal suffering, or release an ancient, unspeakable evil. And beneath it all lies a truth so monumental and horrific that even possessing a mere fragment of its knowledge would unravel the entire world. Let's start with the standard path you are meant to take and Look Outside. Upon venturing into the apartment building, you will meet a group of 4 astronomers spread out over the floors of the residence. We learn they want to make contact with the Visitor through a ritual, hoping it will understand their desire to communicate. To do so, they need to each obtain an item that captures the Visitor's form to use as an offering. Each astronomer had a respective dream detailing their needed item, and you must retrieve all 4 to progress to the ending. However, Sam must remain careful, as even glancing at a picture of the eldritch monster will cause him to morph. Aster on floor 2 requires a photograph of the Visitor, which can be achieved through apartment 31. Turning off the lights will cause the apartment to shift and monsters to appear, but going to the back room, you can point the telescope outside to see the image of the Visitor shown on the floor, then using the negative disc to transfer the Visitor's image onto it. You then need the photo paper from Lyle, just make sure to give him a smooch for doing so, then take both to Vincent's apartment and copy the negative disc onto the photo paper using the projector. Make sure the lamp is pointed down or you'll get a game over. Then Lyle can develop it for you, and the first offering is secured. Aurelius on floor 1 dreams of a painting of the Visitor. Conveniently just down the hall is Frederick's apartment, a painter who has just what we need. You will need to assist him in defeating at least 3 of his twisted painting imposters, and he gifts the canvas carry bag. This allows you to safely transport his painting of the Visitor, which you can find in his studio. Since the lights are off, you will need to find the painting that is still wet with blue paint, located in the back top left. Jasper on the ground floor dreamt of a manuscript detailing the creature's visage. Being a bit more complex, you must make your way through the basement, sewers, and parking garage to activate the elevator. Ride it to floor 2, and the first apartment on the right contains the typewriter. Defeating the boss rewards you with the loose manuscript, the missing piece to the paper and the typewriter on the small connecting room. Combining these will give you a complete writing of the Visitor and the third offering needed. Last but not least, Beryl is found in the parking garage and dreamt of a video recording of the Visitor. She surmises this must be a security camera outside of the apartment. We can gain entry to the security room by using the planet discs found around the apartment, but first need a blank videotape to record the outside. One is obtained by going to the convenience store on the first floor, and you can find the key within the fungus layer of the basement. With the tape in hand, you must defeat the Panopticon enemy, then find a way to determine which channel is showing the outside. Since we can't look at it, you can use an unwilling subject, Cinnamon the guinea pig from Vincent's apartment. Placing her on the seat, we now see her transform when the correct channel is selected. It can then be copied to the blank tape, and now all the offerings are secured. After they have been given to the respective astronomers, Jasper will confirm everyone is ready, gift us a set of dark robes and a roof key, and tells us to meet outside when ready. With a shaky, deep breath, we step outside. The world seems almost tranquil, despite the unspeakable chaos unfolding, and we see transformed monstrosities flying and moving around. Meeting with each astronomer, they gaze at their offerings to confirm them correct, then proceed to the ritual circle. When ready, we make our way there to see the ritual unfold. As each offering is given up to the Visitor, we see the sky part as its crushing gaze sets upon us, and begins to transform the astronomers as they ascend. They first become a swirling mass of chaos, attacking the party. Once defeated, we are surrounded in ethereal white as a new form stands in front of us. The astronomers seem to have succeeded. They have ascended. They are now the Exalted Four. Despite their new appearance, they are able to keep their humanity for a brief few minutes. We may ask them from a number of questions about reality and the Visitor before they are completely taken over and attack us. We learn the Visitor is an unknowingly massive creature, aimlessly floating through the universe, akin to a blind man feeling its way in the dark. Happening to come across Earth, it felt observed, and we find it has visited many centuries prior and will do so again in a few hundred years. Anything it gazes upon is changed, as the eldritch monster has no control over its effect and only wishes to observe us. Its power is too much, even for the Exalted Four, who are losing their willpower and warn they may soon become the biggest threat to humanity. If we are defeated by the Exalted Four or choose to run from them in battle, we receive the Screaming Skies ending. Losing their consciousness, the angelic monster has ended the world as we know it. 90% of humanity has perished, with the Exalted Four being the vast contributors. Their ascension became an abomination. They now soar, screaming through the skies, with nothing but death and despair left in their trail. Each victim is obliterated and pulled into them. With no way to stand up against the creature, some give in willingly, hoping it to be a release from their cruel fate and bringing them to a form of paradise. If you instead defeat the Exalted Four in battle, you are able to rise up, coming face to face with the visitor directly. He pulls Sam's body apart as he observes it, before restoring it to converse. The massive eldritch being isn't malicious at all, but curious of Sam and the offerings he collected. Asking about each one, he seems to not understand that Sam sees himself as different from the visitor. He then begins to comprehend himself as separate from humanity, and shows remorse when Sam reveals his observation is hurting the planet. He has never seen anything like Sam before. He has never even had a thought prior, but he agrees to leave humanity alone. You may also choose to attack the visitor. This is in vain, as it only allows him to discover anger and obliterate Sam entirely. However, Sam can ask one last question before departing. We learn the visitor is from the cold, black emptiness of space, and is the only one there. He knows not what he is, but can show us if we'd like, and this decision will either save or doom humankind. If you choose to look upon the visitor's full form, we see its eye as just an infinitesimal piece of its full body that stretches beyond even our solar system. The impossible revelation causes Sam's mind to collapse, transforming him into a horrific abomination. Within a few months, almost all of humanity is wiped out, as the beast Sam has become devours people indiscriminately. It is a writhing mass of tentacles and teeth, growing larger with each assimilated victim. Within a few years, the beast covers the entire world. Any who try to reason with it become just another lost soul within its inescapable grasp. It grows until the earth itself is blotted out from its size, lost entirely to the unthinking monstrosity. However, refusing to look at the visitor sees a much better ending occur. Sam is still morphed into a large tentacled creature with fractal-like limbs containing even smaller and smaller tentacles and cilia-like tongues. But Sam is able to remain in control, his sanity and ego left unshattered. He now uses his new powers to aid humanity, being able to help hundreds at once with this new body. While many are reluctant, they quickly come to accept and rely on Sam, as he becomes a much-needed beacon of hope for the planet, rebuilding every city and being accepted as a citizen across the globe. The many tentacles become as common as plants, with everyone coming to embrace their savior. Within a few short years, the entire world recovers, and we even see transformed and normal humans coexisting. Despite much to grieve from the visitor's influence, the world can see a better future ahead thanks to Sam, and he is now surrounded by countless friends. If you instead gave the astronomers some incorrect offerings, with at least one being correct, we see the ones who receive false offerings morph into terrible creatures before the remaining astronomers attempt the ritual. Now we face a fractionalized chaos quartet with the ritual failing. Sam stumbles back inside, wounded, with immense guilt from the entire ordeal. Opening his apartment, his friends inside look horrified as Sam is dripping with blood. Looking into the bathroom mirror and washing his face, his vision blurs, his heart races, and his breathing becomes labored. Then, a horrifying realization. He begins to sprout multiple arms and eyes as the visitor's influence overtakes him. All he can feel is regret as he tries to remain calm and deny his doomed fate, but nothing can stop it. He has become one of the cursed. Remember our sweet little guinea pig friend Cinnamon, the one we brutally forced to transform? Well, we can actually use her for two secret endings. Unfortunately, neither is a great fate for her. For Beryl's offering, you can actually give her Cinnamon instead of the security tape, under the pretense that Cinnamon may have seen what is outside. Now when you give the other three correct offerings, Cinnamon becomes affected by the ritual, and twistedly morphs into a cursed abomination, the monstrous XIN-AMON. It assimilates the astronomers, who see it as a form of ascension before turning its bloodlust on us. Being defeated by the creature, we lose consciousness, and learn all is lost as the world is left in chaos. Years pass, as everything descends into violence and despair, as unimaginable horrors ravage those unfortunate enough to live. The most terrifying among them is the rat god. Leveling cities in a single pass, it devours hundreds of humans each week, with a cacophony of screams following its horrid path. Those who are eaten don't perish, but instead become a wailing face upon the monster's skin. His countless doomed souls lie in its immense body. They scream because they know they will never die, and Sam is cursed to this eternal fate. If you are strong enough to defeat XIN-AMON in battle, Sam will collapse exhausted, but quickly realizes his attacks had no effect. He was only fighting an insignificant fraction of the true beast. Now growing at an unprecedented rate, we learn the astronomers were holding back its expansion. It grows exponentially, eating all in its path to grow that much larger. No thoughts, no soul, just insatiable hunger. It erupts as it covers every inch of the surroundings. Great rodent towers grow in the distance, as the screams and sobs of helpless victims are cut short by gnashing jaws. Sam is left to the same fate as the mass approaches him, wrapping him and biting into his arm. His arm twists and bursts, becoming part of XIN-AMON, biting his own face before being completely overcome by the urge to gnaw and eat. Then, nothing is left to consume. The entire world has been overtaken by XIN-AMON. It is left in the endless expanse of the cold, dark void of space. Even the screams eventually fade, as only loneliness remains for the twisted rodent abomination, left to aimlessly float through space. If you give the astronomers 4 incorrect offerings, we will see them all transform into cursed monsters. With none of them left to commence the ritual, Sam is alone as he starts to convulse. His head begins to split open as his limbs bifurcate and turn, being stretched in every possible direction, his mind torn apart beyond any possible human understanding. Sam has become a living fractal from the visitor's influence, seemingly becoming a part of the visitor's unknowable infinity. But what if you gathered no offerings? What if you never even met the astronomers? What if you decided to just stay in your apartment and wait out the 15 days until the visitor leaves? You can do just this to get the no going back ending. Waking on the 16th day, Sam decides to look outside, but the world is unrecognizable from what he knew. Even though the ordeal has ended, the true horror is only beginning, as over 2/3 of humanity has been destroyed. Of the remaining, most are transformed into cursed beings. 124 of them have become behemoth-like monsters known as the 100 Gods, demolishing all in their path and being solely responsible for 1/10 of the total destruction. And cults start to form behind them. A few of the cursed retain part of their human mind, but are haunted by horrible mental side effects. Their assimilation into what remains of society is a struggle. With no one truly knowing what happened, the world remains in mysterious chaos. But one mystery in particular haunts Sam. What happened to his neighbor Sybil, the one he had been communicating with constantly throughout the 15 days? Going into her apartment, we see a giant hole, as if something from the sky pulled her out. Thinking more, how did the astronomers first come to learn of the visitor, and why did they want to prepare offerings? You remember them speaking of a previous leader. Aurelius tells us Jasper was the first to observe the eldritch being, but asking him, he says it was their disappeared founder. Beryl tells us the true name of their founder, Sybil. Could it be the same one we know? Jasper says it's impossible, as the Sybil he knew is no longer with us, and has become the fleshy masses we see all over the apartment complex. He only hopes she isn't in pain, but he gives us the key to her apartment, which is number 12 on the ground floor. You can find the door hidden underneath one of the flesh-covered walls, and inside we find husks of Sybil with her notes detailing how she first saw and observed the visitor floating through the universe. One of the walls hides a door that can be cleared with herbicide, and in the wall we find a locked room which contains a planetarium puzzle. Using all of the planet discs, we can enter a room with more of Sybil's notes, detailing how the observation started to change her and hides a truth so horrid she had to hide away from the other astronomers and force herself to forget it altogether. There remains one more locked door, but we are unable to find any key for it. We do find the key to apartment 35 where Sybil currently is, and her broken telescope, which was a gift from Jasper. Taking it to him, he will fix it for us. Within apartment 35, we find Sybil, but she isn't morphed at all. Excited to see us, she doesn't seem to have any extra knowledge about the visitor, and she doesn't even know a Jasper. However, we can give her the repaired telescope. With it, the memories come flooding back. Sybil saw the visitor, and it saw her. She is the sole reason it came to Earth. Her observation caught its interest, and in turn has caused so much chaos. She remembers her dear friend Jasper, but the guilt and regret is too much for her to bear. She must forget everything, as the real truth of the matter will cement mankind's doom. Sybil asks us to be friends with Jasper, and we must make a promise to let the secret of the visitor die with her, that we will stop searching for the truth altogether, as Sybil warns it could destroy the entire world. Keeping Sybil's promise will unlock a new dialogue option during the Exalted 4 battle. We can tell Jasper we spoke to Sybil, which he tries to dismiss, but we're able to give him details only the real Sybil would know. Finally believing us that their previous leader is alive, the Exalted 4's sanity begins to slip under their ascension. But mid-battle, we can call out to Jasper about our promise to Sybil to stand by him. This revelation allows the Exalted 4 to regain their consciousness. They resolve to meet with the visitor and find a new way to end this ordeal. The party anxiously waits below, eyes skyward to the celestial visitor. At last, the skies part as the ascended astronomers descend in bright heavenly rays. They proclaim a new era has begun, one in which a flourishing new world will be built. The Exalted 4 then go on to preside over the world and its reconstruction as a benevolent being that gives the new world a sense of redemption. Each party member you recruit will see their own ending here. Dan reluctantly quits streaming. Leaving the games behind, he puts others in his life first. Him and Sam stay close friends and game with one another every weekend. Joel continues to visit his transformed brother Benjamin as he believes his brother is still within. However, he begins his own life, feeling it's what Ben wants, but always visits often to talk with him. The rat child is raised by Sam as his own child. The relationship has good and hard times, but the rat child loves Sam like a father. Ernest decides to finally settle down. Together, Colonel Squeakums and he use their musical talents to entertain children, and their music continues to be played years after they are gone. Sophie goes back with her mother, Harriet, but still continues to visit Sam and cause her usual mischief. She eventually goes off on her own adventure, sending Sam postcards of where she goes on her travels. Lee finally returns to her estranged family. They accept her new beastly side, acknowledging it was always part of her. In time, she lets go of her rivalry with Sam, and they remain great friends. Only saying her goodbyes to Sam, Helen leaves the city behind. Her travels take her many places, never staying in one for long, but wherever Helen goes, a garden seems to bloom not long after. Zarya finally begins to become comfortable with who she is, coming to realize the burden her reckless behavior causes. She even apologizes to those she's wronged, Sam in particular. However, her and Monty never truly lose the rebellious side, joining a resistance group against the Exalted 4's reign. Together, they aim to find a new path for humanity. Audrey vows to not let her new form hold her back, and becomes a mother figure for many children who have been orphaned by the visitor's influence. Morton, instead of just collecting, starts to share with others. He creates his own shop to share his many treasures with people, but always keeps his best trinkets for himself. Aster is now one of the Exalted 4, purposely overseeing and spearheading humanity's rehabilitation. Nearly all of his time is dedicated to it, but he always makes time for Sam. Papineau decides to finally take a rest. The new world contains enough work to last multiple lifespans, and Papineau appreciates a moment of peace with his friends before his quest of reconstruction begins. Philippe has trouble leading a life without his spore princess. He has to learn to be his own person. At first, he helps Sam establish himself, much to his chagrin, but eventually lets his troubles with Sam go. Roaches sees his colony spread across the globe. Groups of intelligent roaches colonize everywhere, and humanity comes to see them as a competitor, albeit a silly one. Depending on your choice for Roach's quest to pick a political system, no system will see roaches grow more and more divided, with them coming to make up the majority of social media activity, forever engaged in debates. If a democracy was picked, Sam is forever chosen as the prime minister year over year, and with a monarchy, Sam is their beloved king of roaches. For Lyle, completing his Mazes and Wizards campaign helps him get over his reclusive and impulsive nature. He leaves photography, but stays forever fixated on Sam. The mysterious and dark spider disappears without even saying bye. It remarked it was successful upon achieving this ending. Did it avoid the disastrous fate it foretold for Sam? It did have some strangely familiar conversations with the masked shadow in your apartment. Sybil remains in her human form, but her memory never fully recovers. What was the catastrophic truth she kept talking about? The guilt never leaves, and she grows more withdrawn, depending on Sam more and more over time. Her and Jasper never reunite, but Sybil spends her time gazing through her telescope. Every now and then, her telescope will break, but she mysteriously finds it completely repaired the next day. Sam's life is forever changed. Now surrounded by new friends and family, he is always appreciative of how much he means to the people around him. For the first time in a long time, Sam is not alone. If the truth Sybil warned about is too much to ignore, we can seek it despite her warnings. You must attack her, causing her to morph into a monstrous form of twisted flesh. She is extremely difficult without preparation, as her organs are spread all over the meat world dimension of the apartment complex. These areas are reached by using iris keys, and each one defeated will make the battle easier. Once you manage to best Sybil, she will drop the red key, which unlocks the door in her apartment. Inside, we find the last of her notes, and what is written here is catastrophic beyond comprehension. A truth so profound and primal, any human who possesses this knowledge will be solely responsible for the world's demise. The visitor approached Earth after Sybil observed it, as it believed the planet to be an ancient part of itself, and it was correct. The entire world was once part of the visitor's unimaginable mass, from the people to trees to even rocks. This primordial fact causes one's being to begin to melt back into the visitor as soon as it's remembered, and the reason Sybil vowed to completely forget this and try and save humanity. This is why anything that glances upon the visitor begins to change as its body loses independence and becomes but malleable clay to the eldritch creature's image. Horrified by what he read, Sam feels overwhelming doom as he tries to put the paper down, but he is unable to. It has started to merge into the flesh of his hand. Rushing to leave, his hand melts into the door handle as his body and all the matter around it come together at an atomic level. His feet sink into the ground, and he feels the floorboards, the nails, the entire apartment complex being an extension of himself. The frightening truth starts to infect all around it, as all of the residents conform to the growing mass. As they mesh, their identities and memories are all wiped away, spreading to the surrounding buildings, cities, and the entire world. They all become awakened as one and reabsorbed into the visitor's form. All is forgotten without a trace, as if the earth never existed at all. However, there is a fate for Sam which is even more dooming, one where he enters a void of unending pain, the mask ending. As the most cryptic and easily missable ending in Look Outside, due to its many obtuse conditions and time limit, this involves our mysterious shadow masked friend. To achieve the mask ending, you must reach a certain friend level with the shadow, achieved through a hidden affection system from interactions. He will appear throughout the apartment and is very interested in Sam. You must pick the kind options when meeting him and give him food when he appears hungry. The higher quality the snack given, the more affinity granted. You must then accept the tongue it offers you and can give an item back for a relationship boost. An easy way to do this is to give him the handbag from the tooth department. The next encounter, the shadow will give Sam a rose, the key item needed in the ending. Shadow will then move into Sam's apartment and will offer to let him inside of his robe. Doing so results in a game over, as Sam is pulled apart at the seams with his organs removed as he is enveloped by the void of the shadow. You now must find 4 strange offerings to give the astronomers in place of the real ones. You will need to get the rose before day 6 and gift it to Karen, the cursed creature found in the hole within the parking garage. He accepts it as a present for his boyfriend and will then leave the pit the next day, allowing you to jump back in and explore to find the wrapped painting. We find the painting is that of an old man. All strange offerings are guarded by difficult creatures, with 3 being incredibly strong shade enemies. The old photograph can be found in the landlord's apartment. It is behind a wall in the room with the Wraith Scourge game, and you will need a charge to blow it up to enter. The photograph is of a baby, marked George, 2 years old. The old tape is hidden on the 4th floor, which can only be accessed through the hidden elevator game. You must go from the ground floor, to floor 3, floor 1, and finally floor 2 in order, and then you will see floor 4 is available. We find the videotape is that of somebody's wedding. The final strange offering is the Last Will and Testament, found in the glitched world. This is accessed by finding the unlabeled cartridge behind the planet disc locked doors of the reception room. It won't work in Sam's game console, but can be taken to the flesh world of apartment 31. Playing it transports you to the glitch world, where the will can be found guarded by the eye worm. The offerings seem to represent the cycle of life, from a newborn, to a wedding, to being an old man, and finally death. The same cycle Sam and all humans are cursed to repeat. Giving these to the astronomers will see the ritual fail, them all becoming vicious monsters we must battle, and now the shadow awaits in the ritual circle. A fight begins as his darkness surrounds us, and as many limbs appear. Sam's head slowly begins to bifurcate, like with the failed ritual, and the shadow will reach into his mouth and remove his tongue. Shadow has the ability to freeze time for all party members, but you can prevail and defeat him. The floating mask will slow down, as Shadow gives Sam a mournful hug, before pushing his head back together. His mask, cold as death, is then placed onto Sam's face, holding it in place. Shadow then vanishes altogether. Sam stumbles back towards his apartment with hazy recollection, as those around him seem to not notice him at all. It's also worth pointing out that this image is a mirrored version of the normal stumble back Sam has after the failed ritual, showing things are not as they seem. Gazing into the mirror at his new masked visage, it reminds Sam of something forgotten. When he was 8, he told his teacher the mask felt very cold, but everyone around him just laughed at the silly remark. Sam is both remembering and living this moment as the mask. He grabs a sandwich half his mother had cut for him, but then sees her in the kitchen cutting it, but it has already been cut. She need not do it again. Attempting to tell her, Sam is unable to speak as he has no tongue, and just stands as his countless limbs hang from his new body. His mother screams upon seeing it, causing Sam to flee. His new body must be hidden, as to not scare others. Sam grabs a black blanket, the same he had as a teenager, but mysteriously disappeared without a trace, and wraps himself in it. He had blamed his roommate for taking it, but looking up, he sees both his past self and his roommate talking. Both appear to be scared of him, so Sam leaves. He then decides to follow his past self, hoping to warn him to not go to the roof for the ritual. Masked Sam follows his past self everywhere, from being in the womb, to childhood, school years, and beyond, until the time of the visitor's arrival. We then see the interactions we've had with Shadow play out from Shadow's perspective as Masked Sam. Since they are the same person, Sam realized they need each other, being but incomplete halves of something that could be eternal. The mask approaches Sam as he sleeps, and he decides to crawl inside his robe as he is lovingly enveloped. As Sam is pulled apart inside the void, the moment creates an infinite feedback loop, as Sam can't go to the roof to become the mask, but the mask is the one who gave him his end. They create a paradox. His mind is no longer bound by space and time. It becomes a universe. When the pain comes, it comes all at once and never ends. He has become a god. While this ending can be quite confusing, looking at the lore and details we are given throughout the game, it appears Shadow represents death and the fear of it, which follows throughout life. Sam remarks the mask feels cold as death when placed on his face, and the offerings show the cycle of life and death, and one cannot exist without the other. As the original offerings are portrayals of the visitor used to commune with it, so are the strange offerings to communicate with the dichotomy of life and death. And as the Shadow is actually Sam, when it comes time for Sam to perish as a living fractal, he still shows sorrow and fear at this moment, hoping to spare Sam using his mask. But Masked Sam is essentially dead, living in a void outside of space and time. Longing for life, he follows Sam around, hoping to find a way they can be together, but in doing so, they create a paradox. It seems Sam is now unable to die, becoming what is seen as godlike. However, if we give Shadow the grandma's urn, he will remark he is able to see the whole life and memories through the woman's ashes, and that he won't forget and will treasure the remains. It may be the new universe the ending speaks of is one where Sam decides to erase death altogether, and this is the endless pain it speaks of, as Sam has decided to take it all on himself. The mask ending also initially reminded me of Akira, where Tetsuo's psychic power grows out of control, causing him to be moved to another plane of existence, where he creates a whole new universe as a result. It could be read that the infinite feedback loop caused by their paradox creates an entirely new universe, with Sam becoming a godlike being, similar to the Visitor, as we learn the entire universe is an extension of its being. However, there isn't any hard evidence to confirm this. We also hear more lore from the Spider, a secret party member that can be recruited after defeating the 5 shades that appear on each floor when at max danger level, and the shades themselves give insight. 3 of the 4 strange offerings are guarded by strong shades, and Sybil's notes tell us she started to only see shadows after the Visitor's influence came upon her. Since the universe is all part of the Visitor itself, it follows the shades are part of him as well. Upon meeting Spider, he tells he is Sam's brother and part of him, warning of a ghastly fate that awaits. If our answers see Sam as pitiful, the Spider will want to provide him with a salvation from his awaiting doom. He means to sever Sam's mind, leaving him but a husk that won't have to endure the endless torment that is to come. Very similar to the endless pain that comes with the mask ending. Besting the Spider in battle, he changes his mind, believing instead that Sam may have the strength to overcome his fate, and the Spider will join Sam for the remaining days. When meeting the Shadow with Spider in your party, he will say to pay him no heed, attempting to lead Sam from this path, going as far to beg Sam with his whole soul to leave him alone. When retrieving each strange offering with Spider, he will warn Sam against taking them, warning they will lead to Sam's cursed destiny, and remarking he has failed upon collecting them. Once the Shadow comes to stay in Sam's apartment, the spider can have an interaction with it. Acknowledging Shadow and he come from some dark interstice beyond current time, he then tells the Shadow he wasn't his first attempt, and as he can see, he won't be his last, before asking forgiveness for failing the Shadow, but vowing not to fail Sam. While it most likely isn't Sam the spider has failed each time, there have been multiple similar cases of doomed souls befalling the same cursed fate that awaits Sam with the mask. The spider may be some part of the past or original one to be doomed with this fate that remembers, wishing to escape this looping fate. However, upon achieving the promised ending, the spider will remark that he has succeeded, vanishing without a farewell shortly after, and we see nothing more about the Shadow remaining in this ending. By keeping his promise to Sybil, Sam has erased the looping doom that had befallen him, leading to a world where he can be free of his cursed fate. But we're not done yet. Look Outside holds 2 more secret endings that can only be obtained through completing in-game events. The first will give you the combination to the lock safe in the basement, and comes from completing the most boring objective, the crossword puzzle. Found in Lyle's apartment, you can work in the crossword book to pass time at home. Each time we'll see Sam solve more puzzles, with each difficulty section containing 20. The higher the challenge, the longer it takes to complete them. You can speed things up by recruiting Morton, or completing the Auntie Wilma's crossword challenge game from Mutt's shop. Once you have finally finished the book, Sam discovers a 5-digit combination in the back, the same one that will open the safe. The code is different on each playthrough, but you can always save, work to complete the book and get the passcode, then reload your original save to bypass the process entirely. Opening the safe, we see it contains stairs descending below the apartment. The passage ends with an ominous stone coffin, engraved with the words, "Here lies Wilhelmina von Kreutzwert. Your words belong to her." If you dare to open it, you will see there are steps leading further down to the Tomb of the Crosswords. Entering the haunting area, we see it contains ancient mummies and skinned bodies, and we hear an old voice cackle. We have broken the seal, and what lies within wants to be released. The floor resembles a crossword puzzle. Walking over it will cause violent words to appear, and at the back, we find the evil that was sealed here. A golden coffin hangs suspended. Within waits Wilhelmina. She promises eternal life if we can break the seal. You will need to find 2 words of release to do so. 2 of the mummies carry the words, testing our dictionary knowledge in order to gain them, being Octothorpe and Agalest. The words gathered, we can now release the witch from her entrapment, but one last act awaits her true freedom. We must speak the ominous words of power. Refusing to do so starts a fight with Wilhelmina, and beating her gives you the choice of a powerful weapon. However, saying the word of power, Sam quickly realizes it was a mistake. All we have is now Wilhelmina's to claim. She takes Sam's name first, before requesting his skin. It slowly tears itself from his bones, before slogging over to her. It envelops her as she next takes Sam's eyes. Wriggling out of his sockets, they slink to her before burying themselves in her back. Sam starts to lose consciousness from the pain, but she demands he stay awake and laugh through it. Soon, all of his organs are taken, until he is naught but a giggling husk. He watches in horror as he must cackle through her rise to power, spending an eternity in this misery. Lastly, we come to the remaining ending in Look Outside, the true final ending. This sees Sam gather the strength to face the visitor head-on in battle, and with enough hope, he may just be able to prevail. To achieve this, you must purchase the Massacre Princess Catholicon game from the gamer merchant, who appears as a door encounter. The game is an extremely long JRPG that plays on every major trope, and takes 2.5 in-game days to beat. It follows the main character Rush, who goes on a quest to save the crystals from Maldark. He loses many companions along the way, but comes to find Maldark was trying to save the world from the Massacre Princess. Rush is finally able to defeat the monstrous princess by using Meteor Strike, his signature move that he was unable to master until the end of the game. Upon beating it, Sam learns Meteor Strike himself, although it costs 999 stamina to use and can't actually be used in-game. However, now when you choose to fight the visitor during a perfect ritual, after a few turns, Sam is able to use Meteor Strike against the visitor. He morphs into Rush himself, and the companions from Massacre Princess join to take on the visitor. Although the visitor defeats them one by one, Rush can prevail, using Meteor Strike to defeat the Eldritch God. This sees the world become the mythical realm of Arcania from the Massacre Princess game. All of the characters go on to have happy endings, save for poor Rabu, who if you used his Torment Beam in battle, will never recover, living in misery before disappearing without a trace. We then see an epilogue as to why this ending has its name. Breaking the fourth wall, it writes about the gamer, who has to be the one to add this to the wiki page. Much to his dismay, he must write that this is the true final ending to Look Outside, but he decides to leave this part out of the page. It's better this way, he thinks to himself, and he is correct. I want to give a special shout out to the OmniWorld channel members for their support of the channel. All OmniWorld channel members will get exclusive early access to new videos and determine which lore videos we will create in the future, as well as what games I will play in the live streams.